I became a multimillionaire at a young age and have invested in real estate for 24 years now. I'm going to give you my 24 best lessons I've personally learned so that you can do this even sooner than I did. There are some surprising truths here that most people don't learn until it's too late. Everything from how to think differently to how to make offers on property to how to handle tenants. You'll learn what really matters before you lose decades chasing all the wrong things. Hi, I'm Keith Weinhold, Get Rich Education founder, Forbes Real Estate Council member, best-selling author, longtime real estate investor, and see my work in the USA Today. You've got to start by thinking differently than the mainstream. A different thought will create a different action. You'll develop habits that create different results, and then you'll have a different outcome. You'll learn some today. Either you can be a conformer or you can build wealth. Diversification is for when you're older and you've already made it. Instead of diversifying, concentrate. Andrew Carnegie said, "The way to become rich is to put all your eggs in one basket and then watch that basket." For him, it was his steel empire. The watching part is critical. For me, it's real estate, and watching means understanding and controlling. See, in the stock market, you've got zero control. If Apple stock costs $300, look, you can't do anything to improve the value of that stock. But in real estate, you can control it, like improving a property to increase the rent. Now, whenever I talk to an old-time real estate investor and I ask what they would have done differently if they had started over again, they would often say, "I would have owned more and own sooner." Yeah, I would say the same thing. Look, when I grew up, I thought that people got wealthy from high salaries. They don't. People get wealthy by owning things. And I'll soon talk about how with modest means, you can own more than you ever thought that you could. In your 30s, this is the time of your life where you can really begin to notice your divergence from the herd. Your 30s, it's where the accumulation of your choices puts you on a different trajectory than that of your former peers that are back here. You need to set your sights on the right target when you do that. And the next lesson is don't try to become a millionaire. That is the wrong goal. A millionaire only means that your net worth, assets minus debts, equals $1 million or more. Oh, well, come on. Today, with inflation, you need at least a $5 million net worth in most cases in order to produce sufficient income for yourself. I'll show you how to get there. Be mindful. You're not only trying to obtain financial freedom. As you accumulate wealth, you're trying to live well yourself and be able to have a positive influence on others. You can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. And that's why the next lesson is that physical fitness, that's not just some luxurious option. That is mandatory. I do it first thing in the day or just after first thing when my energy is best. Especially if you don't like fitness, do it early in the day and then the rest of your day feels comparatively easier. The author Brian Tracy, he wrote a book called Eat That Frog. Eat the ugly frog first thing in the morning. And if you have two frogs, meaning two tough tasks, eat them both in the morning and eat the ugliest, wartiest one first. Exercising in the morning, it keeps your metabolism at a higher rate all day as well. To me, building wealth has always been fairly easy and exercise fairly hard. Embrace smart debt. Learn about it. Don't fear it. Fear is usually dispelled by learning about something. Debt means that you get to use other people's money to fuel gains for yourself. This is a really good thing. Bad debt doesn't have any collateral behind it. It's debt that you have to repay, not tenants. And bad debt often has a high interest rate. Debt for an income property, it means that there's collateral there. Your tenants make the payments, not you. And it often comes at a moderate interest rate that can be tax deductible. So embrace all the smart debt that you can without over leveraging yourself. That's where the limit is. And this is exactly how you're going to rise above the herd. And over leveraging means that the monthly payments can't be made. That's the risk that's worth learning about how to mitigate. The next lesson is to focus on leverage, which is created by debt. Einstein purportedly said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world." Now, some say that he didn't really say that, but in any case, back when that phrase was popular about 100 years ago, well, inflation and taxes were not what they are in today's world. Compound interest is impotent when you account for that. There is your typical 10% stock return minus 5% inflation, which the government always underreports, minus 3% taxes, minus fees, minus volatility, minus emotion, and that leaves you with about nothing. Instead, here's how you can actionably diverge from the herd. Compound leverage trumps compound interest. If you can amass $1 million of real estate and do that with your own money, that's a bad plan. If it goes up 5% per year, $50K, that's not much of a gain on $1 million. But if you get $200K as a down payment into $1 million of real estate, oh, now that $50K gain becomes a 25% return to you per year because it's your $50K gain divided by just $200K down. That's 25%. And this is how you're using other people's money, the banks. You got a 25% ROI because you achieved it on both your $200K down and the $800K that you got to borrow from the bank, all while the tenant pays it off and pays the principal and the interest, and the government gives you the tax advantages. Compound interest was just 5%. Compound leverage is 25%. So approach your portfolio that way, being mindful of that core GRE mantra here of financially free beats debt free. The next lesson, and this is so key, spend. Spend your money along the way. You've got to extract enjoyment out of life. That doesn't always have to come from spending, but it's incredible that some people need to be reminded of this. Now, early in your life, you have to live within your means at times to form some capital, but as I'm fond of saying, the risk of too much delayed gratification is denied gratification. You can't risk it. The next lesson, your income is derived from your tenant. Have a rent talk with each new tenant, or see that your property manager does. And sure, this stuff is written in the lease, but it's really best to air it out too. The rent talk is more than just say, I expect you to cut the grass if it's a single family home. One thing I've always shared with tenants is gently telling them, I have a mortgage on this property, so I really need the rent paid on time. Most tenants don't know you have a mortgage. I mean, you wouldn't believe how far that one simple sentence helps. 1 minute on the front end in the rent talk can save you an hour of frustration on the back end. If you ever have to post a written notice to your tenant, like the rent's late or they're trying to keep a dog when it's disallowed, say this: the law says that I have to. This keeps it non-confrontational between you and your tenant. It's about the law, not you or them. With your tenants, be friendly, but not friends. I'm talking about the 24 lessons that I've personally learned from 24 years of directly investing in real estate. And put a like on the video if you like how I'm breaking it down, and thanks in advance for the thumbs up. Don't ever pay capital gains tax on your property. When equity accumulates, cash it out because it generates zero return. When you do this, it's a truly tax-free event. When it's time to sell, do either a 1031 exchange or 721 exchange. They're both tax-deferred events that you could effectively make tax-free, and now you're keeping more of what you've earned. Don't live below your means. Grow your means. Keep this in mind as you grow your portfolio. If you try to budget, scrimp, and save, I mean, some of that's all right, but you can only cut down your expenses so far, and yet there's an unlimited amount of gain on the upside. So study how to do that best. A rich man digs for gold. A poor man is concerned with the cost of a shovel. This is why you want to chase personal development and not a paycheck. Personal development, that often means making and maintaining relationships. Even in an increasingly algorithmic and AI-driven world, relationships still matter. Think about it. Every dollar that you've ever made in your life came from somebody else. Business philosopher Jim Rohn said that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. The quickest way to change yourself is to change your friend group. We all practice modeling. When you see a person that looks like you and acts like you and they're doing what you want to do, oh, now you can see that it's possible for you too. When you're making an offer to buy a property, how do you stand out? Well, first, have the reputation of being able to close. And second, and this might surprise you, but in most cases, I offer the full asking price for the property. Although I do that, I ask the seller to give me cash at the closing table to pay for a lot of my closing costs, or even pay my PMI for me up front so that I can make a tiny down payment and leverage more dollars. It's usually better to do it this way rather than, say, offering $480K on a $500K property. Instead, I offer $500K and ask for $20K at the closing table because those dollars are worth a lot more today. And then I get to finance the extra $20K over 30 years, which barely changes my monthly payment amount, and it all gets debased by inflation anyway. This often means that I'm financing more. Learn about mortgages and financing. Debt and loan can become your 2 favorite 4-letter words. And then if mortgage rates go up, I'll be glad that I got the loan when I did. And if mortgage rates go down, oh, well then I get to refinance at the lower rate. Though it's good and virtuous to have a job, that can be a temporary phase of your life. Learn how money works. It makes no sense. People spend tons of time learning how work works and 0 time learning how money works. Yet money is the main reason that people go to work. So learning how money works is really worth your time when people are trading their time for dollars all the time. Okay, well, if you only have average means, how do you really build a real estate portfolio fast? You use one property to buy another. It's called equity harvesting. My first ever property was a 295K fourplex. It appreciated to 425K in a few years. Well, I got a cash out refinance, again, tax-free, and had enough to make a 10% down payment on a second fourplex, which cost 530K. Oh, well, now I own 8 units instead of 4. Still the same amount of equity. No equity was lost. And I had more debt, but so what? The tenants pay it for me. Instead of 1 fourplex to appreciate over time, now I had 2, and with 8 doors instead of 4, I lowered my risk because 1 vacancy now just means that my vacancy rate was only 1/8, not 1/4 vacant. Harvest your equity, otherwise it just rots in the field like a crop. The next lesson is don't make extra principal payments. Since your ROI is income divided by equity, it increases your equity, therefore lowers your rate of return, and it also makes your dollars illiquid when you trap them there as well. Extra principal payments don't increase your appreciation rate on the property one bit. Financial freedom is achieved when you convert your equity into cash flow, but instead you convert your cash flow into equity when you make an extra principal payment. Big equity gains are not achieved through making principal paydowns. As you can see, almost every single year without fail, historically, you grow equity passively from market appreciation. 401ks are not wealth building vehicles. When I had the very inventor of the 401k plan on my show, Ted Benna, he told me that they were originally called salary reduction plans. They had to scrap the name to foster participation, even though they didn't change the plan at all. They still reduce your salary. Though it might give you an adequate retirement one day, it's not for wealth building, and that is because outside of the employer match, each dollar that you lock inside a 401k is a dollar that cannot leverage other people's money. Inflation never stops. It's about as predictable of a force as anything, so learn how to use it to your advantage. Inflation impoverishes savers and lenders, and inflation enriches borrowers. If you've got $1 million saved under the mattress, in 30 years its purchasing power could be debased to just $300K. But if you've got $1 million of real estate debt today, even if your tenants weren't paying it down like they are, that would be passively debased to just $300K of debt for you in 30 years, because over time, wages, prices, salaries, and rents go higher, and everyday people have the means to borrow big through real estate. The next lesson is that you do care what others think about you. That's called your reputation. It's okay to care, but you don't want to be overly concerned about what someone else thinks about you, or you won't even want to diverge from the herd. Be an ethical operator. If you provide housing that's clean, safe, affordable, and functional, you'll never get called a slumlord. The top regret you'll have in life are the risks that you didn't take. Gosh, this is so blatantly true. If you take a risk and succeed, you're going to be happy because you'll have the reward. But if you take a risk and fail, well, now you have that knowledge and you'll never risk the mental ravaging of always having to wonder what would have happened. This applies whether you make an offer on the property or ask out the woman that seems a little too attractive for you. No regrets. The next lesson is to get started. You're going to learn more from your first deal than you will hundreds of hours of consuming content or networking with people or listening to podcasts or reading books. And you're going to care more because you do own the property. And the last lesson, because it's something that I wish I would have known and had access to before I started 24 years ago, and that is, once I'm ready to get some income property, to have some free coaching. Someone who would learn my personal situation and then connect me with proven providers in income producing properties. We offer investment coaching, and it's truly and always free. We don't try to upsell you to some paid program. That is it. greinvestmentcoach.com. You can book a time there now for a free strategy session. Based off what you've been watching recently, YouTube thinks that these videos are the best ones for you right now. Be sure to subscribe to the channel.